No.
Attack.
So, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So, I thought maybe today we speak about what do we mean by freedom, and what does freedom demand? What do we mean by freedom, and what does freedom demand? And when do we know that when will you know that you have freedom? When will you know that you have freedom? And freedom from what? Hmm? Few questions on this understanding of freedom, and I'll tell you why it's important. The reason it's important is that the current mechanisms that are being foisted, implemented, imposed through technology and through other methods, um, these understandings or these mechanisms and systems that are being imposed on you are restricting something. So, for example, speech is restricted now. There are certain words that you cannot use. Um, Identifying someone's or misidentifying someone's gender on a spectrum of 64 or whatever it is now not allowed. It's not acceptable. Um, Discrimination, racism is theoretically not acceptable, but in everyday life, you see it in different ways. So the question is, when will you recognize your freedom, and what does the implication of that mean? So as these restrictions become more and more prominent, and you will see that they will become more and more prominent, more and more controlling, more and more restrictive, more and more enabling you to be identified anywhere, everywhere, in whatever way, and to be manipulated and controlled. So if you don't agree with something, then maybe you have some restrictions. Like, for example, if someone breaks the speed limit, then the restriction is they take your license away or they give you points or whatever it is that they do now. So, when do we recognize what freedom means to you? So, we're in this space now where a few, more than we had last year, have started to wake up to the fact that freedom is being restricted. And you'll only realize this when it's taken away. You don't realize this when it's being taken away. And the way to take away freedom from anyone is first to frighten them, is to provide them something that they are um, existential. It's got to be existential. You can't quite put your hand on it. You can't, it's not like, hey, that little snake that's in this room is going to hurt me. It's not like that. It's ethereal. So remember, war on drugs, ethereal. War on terror, ethereal. Yeah. War on AIDS, ethereal. Right? Pandemic, ethereal. Can't hold it. Can't hold it. And this then provides you the motivation, the individual who's being terrorized by this stuff, it enables them to react in a way where they're looking for safety. Yeah? And in order to look for safety, you may have to give up a freedom. So you may have a freedom to hug your friends and say, well, in this case, you can't hug your friends and it's illegal because it affects the other person. So they take the freedom away. The problem is, I'll just wait until the Bluetooth comes in. The problem is that as our it becomes so restrictive that we begin to notice that life that we're in, the way we are living, has become far too restrictive. So the way I describe it is like this: when you see a flame far away, You don't take much notice, but you notice it. So the flames at the moment are in France. You look at them and you notice them. Yeah? Although mainstream may not have it advertised, but if those who are aware and you look at it and you find, the flame's a bit far away, no need to panic because they're far away. As this flame comes closer, you begin to take more notice. And this is the same as restrictions come closer. As more and more restrictions, more and more freedoms are taken away, or you give up. So we're in this moment now where there's an imposition of this space, but at the same time, as life works in duality, more light, more dark. So as more of this comes out, more and more individuals begin to realize the value of freedom. And that is the turning point that we as humanity are now starting to go. And why can we say this with confidence? Because it is a state of consciousness. And those who are ignorant about their mind, ignorant about consciousness, have no understanding of what is going on. For them, it's either just the government's doing this or whatever the score is. But this is a much bigger picture, a much bigger picture in which the entire space that is occupied at this moment within our realm of being is going through a transition. It's a change of frequency. And the frequency means that those, all right, so what do we mean by this? Let's just give this a little bit more structure. There are emotional states which lower your frequency. What do I mean by that? When you are consumed by a story, particularly one that induces an emotional reaction that's to do with attachment, an emotional reaction that's to do with craving, infatuation, an emotional reaction in which to exploit another, normally as kind of sensual gratification, an emotional reaction of anger, and one that you think you're in control. So as we create these stories, and the story has to be um, so and so said X to me 20 years ago, and I was offended, and I'm going to use that little offense that I felt like a jewel that I'm going to keep for 20 years, and then I'm going to tell myself a story about what they did to me, and as a result, I'm going to cultivate anger or regret. That lowers the frequency. That lowers your frequency because you're consumed in a story that's manufactured. When we experience something like contentment, when we experience something like self-compassion, compassion, gratitude, then the frequency is different. Because in those three, the interest isn't on the self. It's a more wider space. It's a more open space. You're not restricted. There's no restriction. It's in peace, everything is okay. Yeah. In anger, nothing is okay. That's the difference. So when we go into these states, and that's what's being induced through all the stuff that you're now experiencing, are states to lower the frequency, to keep one in a state of fear, the climate, the sun's going to fall, the earth's going to explode, this is da 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 da. Fear, 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 fear. Nothing more. Now, the question I asked is, what are you seeking freedom from? And the biggest prison that we have is the prison of the mind. When we get consumed, our attention is robbed by an event, a person, an individual, or situation, when we are robbed with that, consumed with that, we lose our freedom. Why do we lose our freedom? Because we lose the moment. We either go into a future or we go into a past. We lose the moment. So the biggest freedom to be attained is first the freedom from your own mental rubbish. That's the first one. Once you've got that, everyone else's rubbish is clear to you as well. But you have to first see your garbage in order to see the garbage everywhere else. Hence, if we begin with this understanding, with our meditation, cultivating this space, and you find that your mind goes hither, thither, everywhere, those stories are basically the ones that induce your emotional space. So if you are in a state of discomfort, anger, anxiety, depression, then it's basically a story you caught in, nothing else. Just a story you caught in. So if you worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, you're anxious. No two ways about it. If you're worried, if you're concerned about what happened to you yesterday, a bit of regret, a bit of guilt, but more importantly, most likely resentment and anger. Yeah, anger is to do with the past. Anxiety, fear is to do with the future. And when people say it's the fear of the unknown, it's rubbish. How can you fear something you don't know? How can you? You can only be fearful of something that you have that you may lose. That's it. That's all fear is. Fear is the loss of something you have or you think you have. It's not the fear of the unknown. Fear only exists with loss, nothing else. So once we begin to see these mental activities and how that influences our life, doesn't mean we don't enjoy life. Doesn't mean we don't feel fear. Doesn't mean we don't feel anxiety. It simply means we begin to realize, hey, I'm not ill. I'm not unwell. You begin to take control of what you are, and you begin to take control of what induces these emotional states in you, who pushes your triggers, and then do you work with those triggers. That's it. That's self-control. Yeah. So meditation, if it teaches you anything, or it should teach us anything, it is that the only freedom we need is the freedom from our mental worldview, become present, and in being present, we begin to become aware of how we are influenced and how our emotional states can be triggered by stimulus and stories from other places or stories you tell yourself, which we are very good at, especially with all the soap operas. Yeah? Okay, we'll do some meditation. And so we'll always, as ever, uh, new to meditation.
I've been meditating for a few years.
Okay, brilliant. All right. Okay, so what we'll do is begin with your body. So first, just allow yourself to get into a comfortable posture. And in this posture, what we want to do is we want to just go through a set of um, instructions. So we begin with the back, and we make sure that the back is straight and upright. And this becomes important as your meditation matures, why we have a straight back, or try and have a straight back. Then we move to our shoulders, and you want to pull them back a little bit so your chest feels open, and ensure that they're not necessarily hunched. We tend to slightly hunch them at times. So one good way is to hunch them and let them drop. And then notice that your arms and your hands are comfortable. If you pull your chin in slightly, the back of the neck stretches. This aligns our head, neck, and spine. Should be comfortable. And then our eyes are closed. Our mouth is closed unless we can't breathe in through the nose. Jaw is relaxed. And as you draw your next breath in, bring your focus to yourself as best as you can. And you want to take this moment to notice what's going on with you. So let's begin with the body first. So imagine there's a hula hoop above your head, And as this hoop begins to descend down, it begins to lighten your body, exposing any dominant sensation that's within the body. So begin with the head, allow it to come across your face down, gently scanning your body all the way down. And you want to look for anything that's dominant. And the dominant sensations tend to be pain, tightness, itch, soreness. Just a quick scan to notice is what's going on within the body itself. And if you find anything, all you want to do is locate. Locate, no judgment, no commentary. Next breath in. You want to take your focus now within yourself, just for a moment, and see if you can notice what's going on with you. Mental space, emotional space. Okay. Next breath in, bringing your focus now to the seat you're on. And you want to begin to recognize how you're held in place. In fact, embedded in the here and now, because you can't be anywhere else. The ground beneath you holds you. The air in front of you is the only breath you can take. And you begin to notice the chair supports you, the seat holds you, so you can afford to let go a little. Allow yourself to soften. Notice there are sensations where the chair makes contact with your body. Bring your focus to that as best as you can. From those sensations, you gently bring your focus up, bringing awareness to your hips. Remember, you're still looking for sensations. As you breathe out, or next breath out, you bring this focus down your thighs, gently scanning all the way down to your knees. From your knees, moving down, scanning the back of your legs. Remember, you're looking for sensations. And if there aren't any sensations, a pain, a tightness, an itch, an ache, notice your ankles, bringing your focus to your feet. And then the soles of your feet. Next breath in, bring your focus back to the seat you're on. Again, notice how well you held in place. Notice that your back is straight and upright. As you breathe in, bringing your focus from your lower back now up towards your middle back. Simply scanning for sensations. From your middle back, you move up towards your shoulder blades, and then gently moving to your shoulders. Once you're at your shoulders, see if you can soften them a bit. And then from our shoulders, we allow this awareness to move down towards our elbows. From our elbows, we move down to our wrists, scanning the forearm, and then notice the palms of your hands. Hold your focus there for a short while. Next breath out, you bring your focus now towards your fingers. And then gently, as you breathe in, bringing your focus towards your eyes. Notice the darkness, the back of your eyelids. Recognizing that you are this awareness that can't be switched off. And then as you breathe out, you allow your eyes to soften. And next breath in, you're bringing your focus towards your mouth. Notice your lips first. Sensations on the top lip, sensations on the lower lip. And then gently bringing this focus within your mouth. Sensations on the roof of your mouth. On the inside cheeks of your mouth. And now the sensations on the tongue. Allow your tongue to soften. Allow your jaw to soften. And then as you breathe out, allow your face to soften. Next breath in, once again, bringing your focus to your body as best as you can. Notice if there's anything dominant that attracts your attention. Next breath in, we're going to bring our focus to our inner space. By this, I mean your mental space and your emotional space. So let's look at our mental space first. Do you feel alert or do you feel drowsy? Right this moment, do you feel alert? Do you feel drowsy? Are you able to focus or do you feel distracted? What's the mental space? And then bringing your focus to the surface of your chest. You hold your focus just on the surface at the center of your chest and begin to notice the movement of your chest. Breath comes in, chest moves out. As the breath goes out, the chest relaxes. Begin to notice the rhythm, allowing the breath to breathe by itself. The rising of your chest and the falling of your chest, in rhythm with the breath. Next breath in, bring your focus a bit deeper into yourself, right into the very center, the very core, your heart. Hold your focus there. And as you hold your focus there, begin to notice how you're actually feeling right this moment. Do you feel settled or do you feel unsettled? Do you feel peaceful or do you feel agitated? How does it feel? Comfortable, uncomfortable? And then on your next breath out, you simply open your awareness to all the sounds and noises around you. You don't want to look for them. You don't want to search for any sound. You simply want to be listening. And if there's any noise, any sound, it'll come to you. Present within yourself, listening. When you're ready, bring your focus just beneath your nose. Anchor your focus on the breath. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. And all you want to do is watch the breath moving in, the breath moving out. Stay with your breath. When you find your focus has drifted, distracted by a thought, my voice, or a sound, notice the distraction, come back to your breath. Notice how the breath breathes by itself. No effort is required. Notice your breath has four parts too. The in breath comes in, stops, there's a gap. Out breath goes out, and there's a gap. See if you can notice these four parts of your breath. Notice your in breath has a start and an end. Your out breath has a start and an end. Notice the in breath has a start, middle, end. The out breath has a start, middle, end. Bringing your focus to your out breath in particular. Begin to follow your out breath all the way till the end. Notice when it finishes completely. Allow it to finish by itself, following your out breath all the way till the end. And with every out breath, allow your body to soften a bit deeper, allowing yourself to get deeper and deeper into the moment of now. Alert yet relaxed. Following your out breath all the way till the end. Allowing each out breath to move you deeper into the moment of now. Notice how the breath feels now. Does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Does your breath feel long or does it feel short? Stay with your breath. As best as you can, see if you can bring your focus to the sound of your breath, listening to your in breath, listening to your out breath as best as you can. Listening to the in breath, listening to the out breath as best as you can. And on your next breath out, once again, just opening your awareness to all the sounds around you, including the sound of your breath. Simply allowing any sound to come to you, following the bell into the sound silence. Bring your focus to your experience as best as you can. If it feels peaceful, focus on the peace. If it feels still, focus on the stillness or the silence. Notice the absence of fear, the absence of hate, the presence of peace, the presence of calmness. Notice the absence of time. Notice the presence of silence and the absence of noise. When you're ready, bring your focus just beneath your nose. Sit in silence with your breath. Next breath out, expanding your awareness to include your whole body once again. Notice how the body feels. Bringing your focus to your chair, your seat. Notice you're still held in place. Sensations where your body makes contact with your seat. Using those sensations as an anchor, we bring our focus up towards our hips, gently moving down our thighs towards our knees. Embodiment, bringing some of that peace back into the here and now. And from our knees, we move down towards our ankles. Again, take your time. And then notice your feet. And then moving to the soles of your feet. If you go back to the seat, notice your back is straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands comfortable, relaxed. Your eyes are still closed, your mouth is still closed, and your face is relaxed. Coming back to your breath. And now, as the breath comes in, you can sense your body. As the breath goes out, you can sense your body. Breathing in, you sense your body. Breathing out, you sense your body. In a few moments, you will hear the sound of another bell. Use this sound to draw some slow, deep breaths in, and then, in your own good time, gently opening your eyes. Take your time. Enjoy the silence before the bell. Acknowledging your experience.